Okay, thank you. Thank you everyone for joining. Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. We are thrilled to have you join us today. So before we start, let's share that from which city, which state you have joined this webinar. So we got the response from 9 people. Okay, fine. Yeah, so we can end poll, right? Okay. Where I can see the answer result. Namita, I can't see the result here.
It's under view details.
Stop saying in details, right? I don't see. Could you open, could you pop up that? Or maybe we can link. Can't see. Okay, so moving to the next then. Yeah, so just let me introduce you. My name is Kumar Gaurab. I have over 18 years of experience in business transformation and program management. I'm certified Disciplined Agile Scrum Master, Safe Advanced Scrum Master, Agile Certified Coach, KMP Certified. I have collaborated over 70 plus clients driving business agility and operational excellence. I have extensive work across EME and US region, specializing in cross-functional, large-scale project leadership. I'm passionate about helping clients to assess existing WOW and evolve the WOW for agile transformation. You can scan the QR code if you want to join me over the LinkedIn. So next 45 minutes, we are going to explore the agile landscape, especially the focus on disciplined agile toolkits. The objective, what we have, that understanding the discipline agile overall, and then understanding its principle, the agnostic approach, and then we are trying to understand what are the common challenges, limitation the Scrum team face, and how the discipline agile can provide guidance to resolve those issues. And then we are going to understand how we can integrate the discipline agile in Scrum practices. And thereafter, we also are going to talk about how to make balance between flexibility and the structure we have with the discipline agile and the Scrum methodology. And then I will present one use cases from my experience, what I did for the healthcare leading agent, and then learning outcome that we have the clear understanding of discipline agile roles and how it is going to enhance the agile practices and a strategy to overcome the common Scrum challenges. And of course, that insight into the agnostic potential of DA within Scrum framework. So before we start, please take a moment to understand your current role in Agile project. If your role is not listed, choose other and specify. Just take a 1 minute and try to give your answer so that we can customize it, and also we see so how diverse we are. Oh, great. I can see that 7 out of 13 responded. It's project manager, and then one is a scrum master, and a few marked as the others. It's great to have you guys. So very, I can see the diversity. That's of course few whoever marked, probably they have a different kind of a role, but it's fine. Thank you, yeah, for participating. Yeah. Now the next question that I have, that based on your experience, what are the biggest challenges you have faced with the Scrum framework? It's open-ended. You can write it into the Q&A segment. So guys, could you write the biggest challenges you have faced? Okay, I can see that Suba has marked individual accountability as faded. I haven't worked in Agile. Any other challenges you have faced? Keep writing, guys. Uh, it should be interactive. So once you start participating, I feel that more engaging, you are learning something, and also I'm going to learn from you as well. Okay, it's a even though client wanted to drive projects in agile Scrum way, their mindset did not change from traditional waterfall. Right, you are absolutely right. Thanks for sharing. Integrating PM tools with Scrum methods and principles. Absolutely right. Okay, thanks guys for participating. That's so next slide. I covered the most common challenges in the Scrum teams I perceived. So despite its widespread adoption of success, Scrum teams often encounter specific challenges that can hinder their progress and efficiency. So when you talk about the integration enterprise level, so we work, Scrum particularly work in the software development, it's work very well. But when you have to work with the departments, especially the HR, operation, and finance at the organization level, and we start a struggle as a Scrum team because those departments don't follow exactly the Scrum, the agile process. They might not aware there are different kind of guidance to deliver, and then we start struggling. And then second is talking about limitation scaling. So when we have more than one team is worked very well, but more teams, more communication, more coordination. So it's difficult to manage in such cases. The third one is lack of situation guidance and flexibility and adaptability. So if you see, we have limited of Scrum framework, and when we have to work in very some kind of waterfall approach, and when we have to integrate, say, again, it's going to be difficult for you. We have a fixed framework to use, and then we struggle. So if you talk about that domains, different domain complexity, so whether you are working in the website development project or manufacturing or healthcare, they have different kind of complexity to work, different domain. Sometimes even if you see that organization distribution or the geographic distribution, so different context there. So every team is unique, different kind of challenges. So it's in the Scrum framework, you can't see. You want to use the same framework, everyone, that makes us difficult to implement that work well. So one size fits well is not going to work here because every team is unique. And then process overhead, where if you see the Scrum is too rigid and prescriptive, we have the sprint planning, then that DSU, daily stand-up, sprint demo, and then retrospectives. Again, it's a time box. For instance, a sprint planning for 4 weeks, it's that 8 hours, the 4 hours for a sprint demo, 3 hours. It's a very confined, very time box. So it could be that fatigue for team, that if you want to bind them, right? And then again, global and distributed team. So it's going to be challenging. Effective, I said already that effective communication, cohesion with the distributed Scrum teams. And if you see that technical depth, that is another challenge I faced. So heavy emphasis on immediate deliverables can overshadow code quality, causing a build-up technical depth that needs attention. And then the last, I faced more often the stakeholder expectation. So when I working on the Scrum teams, so we have the speedy delivery, but the stakeholder, they are not willing, knowing well the agile process and everything. They have the long term, and they want to see everything, the long term perspective, and then it creates the conflict among us, right? And so a Scrum team that struggles there. So impact of these challenges: reduced efficiency and productivity, increased project risk and delay, the lower team morale and engagement. So have these pain points resonates with you? Next, we'll see that how overall discipline agile is and how it is going to provide solution to Scrum challenge and struggle you face. So if you see the disciplined agile, so it's not a framework, it's a toolkit. I would say the container of every agile tool, the framework. It's a blend of hundreds of agile, lean, traditional strategy waterfall. So it's offering the agnostic hybrid toolkits, it's a blend of toolkits. So for instance, imagine you have a car, right? So you have Mercedes, a BMW. You can't use the same tools to do any maintenance work for the both. So you have to choose the different. So DA, if you see that you have the all tools, and it gives to that option to choose which could be best work for you. So for instance, imagine you are on the journey, not just a journey, but one where the path is not strictly defined. You have a map filled with countless routes, some scenic, some direct, some challenging. This map is discipline agile. It doesn't push you down a single road. Instead, it invites you to find your own way, offering guidance, wisdom, and choices tailored to your unique journey and destination. Exactly, it's a map you can see. For instance, you have to travel one to B, A to B. So either you can go by road, or you can choose the bus, flights, train. You have all options, right? And the DA image is a map. You can get all the information. What is the duration you have to take? Also give you the sense that budget. It depends on the which path you are going to choose. It depends on the budget you have, time you needed, the other weather condition, everything. Then you take the decision. So Discipline Agile offer you everything in your hand, and you are the one who can take the decision, right decision, which works well for you. The core principle of Discipline Agile, so freedom our framework. So what makes DA stand out is not in jargon, but in real terms. DA is like your favorite navigation app, offering multiple routes based on traffic, weather, your own preferences for travel. It acknowledges that best path varies, what's one may not work for another. This flexibility, this sensitivity to context is DA's superpower. So it doesn't prescribe any framework to work, but it gives you all the framework, all the tools you have to choose, and then a reason to choose, trade-off between the two framework. And then if your context is different, you have to choose the different life skill. One cycle can't fit in every situation. And then context is a unique, every team is unique. So let's say the context part, then enterprise application. So DA, Disciplined Agile, doesn't just work for the software development process, it also for the any other department, finance, portfolio management, IT operation, and more. So it's cover the holistic business agility. So Scrum is, if you see, it works very in software development process, but it goes beyond it. And then let's talk about the continuous improvement. So it's not one-time work. It's a ask for the every time improvement. So you have to improve what you have already done upon it. So every time you look for the way of working, okay, current way of working is fine or not. If maybe not right now, right now might be effective, but in the future, you see, it's not working well, right? So you have to improve upon what you have already. So you have to develop the learning organization. So keep working towards learning new thing, striving for the new skills. Okay. Then quite disciplined agile. So I said learning organization, right? So it's the learning organization catalyze the transformation into learning organization, encouraging continuous improvement beyond the confines of best practices. So it doesn't give you the best practices, just you have to go beyond it, right? And then the second part, if you see uh, that foundation for enterprise agility, it's offer the coherent framework for enhancing process efficiency across various business functions, enabling the true enterprise agility and starting where you are. So it means, for instance, you already working on the Scrum framework. Organization has invested a lot. So if you are proposing new tools, so they you see the resistance. The stakeholder might not support you, and I haven't seen that you can implement any agile transformation if you don't have support from your stakeholders, because it works well, it's a more effective if top-down approach here. So the decision doesn't say that, okay, you change, replace the existing process. It says that work, if it is working well, just work as it is, but look for the opportunity. What are the problems you have, the current framework? And then you choose the practices in Disciplined Agile Toolkit, and then you start working on improve. So in my experience, what I did when I learned for the KMP certification, and then I started implementing the Kanban, what I feel that they are not accepting it. Then what I did, we come with the one template, propose that could we see this kind of framework, maybe it can work for you. So I didn't say that I am trying to implement the Kanban, but I was. The best way is that if you have the understanding well, so DA give all the tools, and then it's you can decide what is working for you. If not, then you look for the other tools. But don't change everything what you have. It's because organization already invested a lot in that. So this is a Disciplined Agile full life cycle. So it's a hybrid life cycle. You can see it doesn't cover just the construction phases where we do we create the consumer solution, the inception where we get all that you can say the sprint zero concept where do the brainstorming, in the inception where we get the scope, that's a release plan and everything. Then transition where we deploy the solution in the production. And then in also see the next is we collaborated in the more in construction phase. And here, so there you can see that apart from the sprint, we also see the other aspect as well. And then it comes with the few milestone. So for inception, so we have the stakeholder vision and proven architecture. So for instance, when you start in construction, you have to ask the question whether stakeholders agree with your strategy. If not, you have to engage them, because they are who maybe some of them are going to fund your project. If you won't get support, probably your project will not be successful. And then proven architecture, whether we have built this or not. In the construction, we need to see that sufficient functionality. the continued viability. So whether the effort we are making any sense, whether it's going to create value for the customer. If not, again, we have to rework. Again, we have to clarify a stakeholder, see what are things we are going to make that could create business sense for the stakeholder and create value for our customer. And the final transition is a delighted customer, whether all stakeholders are happy with the that deployed solution or not. If not, again, we have to work. So our goal is delighted customer, right? Customer should be happy at the end. So these are the three inception, construction, and transition. These are the phases. And the blue color, you can see the block. That is the process goals. And below, you can see the ongoing. So you can see the ongoing. It's a throughout all the three phases. So ongoing, the process, 9 process will have. So means everywhere. It doesn't just in one phases. It works in everywhere. These 9 goals. So for instance, if you see the grow team member, it's a throughout the phase, whatever the complete process we have to work on. Coordination activity, just not a one-time activity. It's a throughout the process we have to work. Address risk, not a one-time. So we have to identify the risk throughout the project, and then the qualitative analysis, and then making the plan, mitigation plan, and then implement it and sustain it. We have to do throughout the project. And then you can see in the inception, the form, team, plan, the release. Similarly, you can see the process goals into the other pages as well. So there are 24 process goals. Now, next, we try to understand that what is the difference between disciplined agile and Scrum. Let's visually compare the disciplined agile and Scrum to understand their distinct approaches and how DH flexibility can be advantageous in various organizational contexts. So for instance, approach, DA's hybrid nature allows it to blend with best of agile, lean, and traditional methods, offering a comprehensive toolkit. In contrast, Scrum provides a focused framework for a specific agile process. Next, if you say the flexibility and scalability, notice how DA's inherent flexibility and scalability make it a suitable choice for any organization size, unlike Scrum, which may require additional framework to scale effectively. So for instance, you might have to use the safe, less, beyond Scrum itself. The roles and responsibility that in the Scrum teams, you have a fixed role, defined role, Scrum Master, Product Owner, Development Team, developers, right? But here it's flexible roles we have in Disciplined Agile can be tailored to fit your organization need. It doesn't provide you, this is the role you have to go with. Ask for the organization, what kind of roles they need it. And then if you talk about that, the process telling, guides team in choosing evolving process are fit for purpose. But here team adapts in the Scrum, adapt their work to fit Scrum's defined framework. So we can't change it. So we have a time box. We have all the sprint planning from the product backlog. Then the sprint planning, we come with the iteration backlog, and then we are moving to the daily stand-up, the sprint demo, and then sprint retrospective. So very well-defined process. Want to go beyond it. And then methodological agnosticism, so truly agnostic, supporting the use of multiple methodology based on context. So it's a more in context driven. And in Scrum is a specific methodology with its own set of rules. So if you talk about the strength, key takeaway of this analysis is that adaptability and comprehensiveness of the discipline agile guidance across business functions, showcasing its capacity to enhance not just software development teams, but the entire organization's agility. And it encourages adoptions. As we endorse how these differences, consider how DS principles could refine and augment your current practices, offering a path to a more tailored and effective agile transformation. And then talking about that, I said in the beginning that we need to understand how disciplined agile offer you the solution, guide you the solution. So here, the challenges I have taken the same what we discussed in the beginning of the slide as common challenges. And then the disciplined agile delivery process goal solution, where you have to look for the solution. So again, it doesn't give you that, okay, this is the final solution you have to look upon and you start working. It doesn't say. But the for enterprise integration challenges, you have to look for align enterprise direction and government team process goals, where you have the decision point, where you can see the lot of option to choose upon, and then you have an analysis pro and cons to every option you are going to choose, and then you take the right decision which suits well for your team context, your organization. So for a limitation scaling, again, there is a process goal for the coordination activities. So we are going to cover that DA browser 5.8, where we can show where you can find all these process goals. So here, if you see the stakeholder expectation, so for that, we have to align the enterprise direction and secure funding, because few of the stakeholders might be funding you. So you have to see the how to secure funding, where to go, and what to do, what kind of options you have to trade up. So if it's not working, right? And maybe that all option might not suit for you, but you have the guidance, what to guidance, you can take the decision. You have the enough context to take decision. So next is in terms of integration, how we can integrate the disciplined agile into a Scrum framework. So this is a Scrum framework you might aware. Here we have the three roles, the product owner, team Scrum master. So we have the product backlog that we get it from the team stakeholder, customers, and the product owner representative of customer and the voice of customer. And then we have sprint planning meeting where we get the sprint backlog. And so we have a sprint for 1 to 4 weeks. And we do the 24 hours, we do the, at every 20 hours, we have the daily Scrum meeting. And then we have the sprint review. And then we have the sprint retrospective where we get the improvement item that we can keep it in the next, we can move it to product backlog, right? And here, and how we can then, we have the burn down chart and burn down or up chart to review it. If you see the agile life skills, so it's a hybrid life skills. It's not just, it's a going beyond it. So if you see here that apart from, if you see here, we have covered portfolio management and the from where you get the vision, right? And also that funding. Then also is a product management. You see the release roadmap, right? Enterprise architecture. And from where then you get the product item. So here we don't talk about the product backlog, but it's a more in work item, right? From the initial modeling, you do from you get the initial architecture vision in the sprint, and then you see the iteration backlog, and then it's called iteration, and not a daily standards called daily coordination meeting, and then end of iteration backlog we have demo to a stakeholder that we call a sprint demo in the sprint, and then the go forward decision and evolve or wow. And then we have consumer solution, the release, and then IT, if there is any change request, we move to the work items. And the below bar, you can see all the three phases and then the milestones, what we have to achieve in every, at the end of each phase, so that we need to align whether we are working as per the customer requirement or not. Now, in terms of that, how we can integrate, so I just try to provide the step-by-step process, how to integrate discipline agile into a Scrum team. So let's imagine we are refining our, so I'm just going to try to correlate with the software development process. So let's imagine we are refining our software development process, much like adding a new feature to enhance our application. We are already successful with the Scrum, but we are going to weave in disciplined agile to make our workflow even more robust. Here is how we'll do it, step-by-step process. So first one, assess current practices. So think of this as our code review. We are going to look at our current sprint process, see what's buzzing along nicely and where we are hitting difficulties. So we need to understand what is working well, what is not, where we need to look for. So we need to understand the current context of the Scrum team, the development process, software development process. Then next step is learn about DA. Of course, we need to understand the discipline agile. So just like learning a new programming framework, we will introduce ourselves to discipline agile principles. This is not about overhauling everything. It's about adding more tools to our development toolkit. Step 3 is identify improvement opportunities. So that also talk about that continuous improvement in the core principle of the discipline agile. So we have to spot opportunity for discipline agile. So here we are on the lookout for the chances to improve. Maybe our daily stand-ups could be sharper, or our sprint retrospective could dive deeper. We'll find those spots where DA can really help. And then the fourth step, pilot DA practices. So so we will pick a DA practices, few practices, and think of it as a trial run. Like when we test a new feature in any app, we'll start a small, apply it to the part of our process, and we see, evaluate how it goes. And based on that, we can tailor our wow way of working. So after the trial, we tailor these practices to our team's need, just as we would fine tune a feature based on user feedback. Step 6 is reflect and adjust. Next, we again regroup, share our experience, reflect what we have done, and decide how to adjust our approach, much like refining our code after user testing. Then seventh step, scale and optimize. So if the new DA practices are hitting the mark, we'll expand them beyond the trial phase into our regular sprint, enhancing our entire development process. Step 8, sustain and evolve. So keep improving. Finally, we commit to continuous improvement, evolving our practices as we learn, just as we continuously update our software to serve our user better. In short, integrating DA into our teams is about building on what works well, fixing what doesn't, and keeping our process as dynamic and efficient as our code is. So the one thing we learned in previous slide, that choose and evolve the way of working, how we can evolve. So there are 5 steps. So first we need to understand the context, analyze the context, then select the best life cycle, how they connect the dots, the process goals, then make some choices, practice continuous improvement. First, so this is analyze the context, that is the first one. So scaling agility at team level. So tactical agility scales talks about the team, and there is a strategic agility that talks at enterprise level. So there are 7 factors you can see. So not just about the team size, we more often talk about it. Also the geographic distribution, the organization distribution, skills availability, compliance, solution complexity, and domain complexity. Team size, if you, and also you can see the statistical figure. In the Scrum, we talk about the team should be fewer than 10, right? But if you see the at 48% agile team are more than 10 people size in reality. And we in Scrum, we often talk about the co-located teams. So if it's only 29% agile teams are located and nearly co-located. So here, if you see that co-located to global, it's a create the complexity. We're going apart from it. So it's a create the coordination, the communication going to be challenging. For in the organization distribution, whether you are working on the one department or multiple departments, the coalition partner, the paid partners, that increase again the complexity. If you see the stats, 96% agile team need to collaborate with the others external to themselves in order to succeed. And then skills availability. So often talk about the cross-functional teams. We should have the every skills, but that is not the real case. So we need to think what is available now, what maybe we can build upon, someone can learn quickly. Then of course, sometimes we have to acquire, maybe it's either we can acquire from the outside or we have to. It's a difference. It creates the complexity. And then the compliances. If you talk about that banking, it has different kind of compliances. Software development, they have the different kind of compliances. Healthcare, different kind of. So we have to adhere to those compliances to fulfill, to sustain in the market. And solution companies talk about the code infrastructure. What kind of code we have to just think about, whether it's a stand-alone or legacy or multi-legacy. It creates, again, the complexity and the domain complexity. So talk about that whether you are working on the healthcare domain or manufacturing, or maybe if you think about that any software development. So it's a demand, it depends on the domain. We have a different kind of complexity. So the essence of every team is unique, has a unique situation. There is a more to scaling just team size, and you need to understand understand and analyze the team differently. You can't, one theory, one practice, you can't fit everywhere. Second, that when we have that you see that all the 7 the technical skills, technical agility skills has direct impact on the process goals. You can see below of that. So for instance, team size has impact on the form team coordinate activities, etc. So this, you can see the mapping with the process goals. So when you have understand your contents, you can choose the process goals in the DA browser, and then you can see decision point. So it gives you idea what is the context and what kind of challenges you have. So if team is 200, so of course, very critical for you to, you have to go for that form team process goals and decision point and everything. Skills ability you don't have. So it has impact on form team and grow team members. The next one, it's the next step was select the best discipline agile life cycle. So I told you that one cycle can't be fit everywhere. So this is the flow chart, right? So for instance, if you are working someone has someone provide your life cycle to choose. So you need to convince them, you have to review it. You have to choose your one, because someone enforcing might not work for you a longer time. And if you have option, but you don't know what cycle could be bit for you, or you are very a startup, so you have the exploratory life cycle, because you don't know the customer demand, what is going to fit for the market. Again, you have to work for the teams of team. Then of course the program life cycle could be good for you. And if you know that you have well-defined process, the low risk, of course, then you go for that serial mention, or maybe the waterfall approach could be best for you. But if you are new to the agile process, you want to implement, but so then agile could be good for you, because it's a very prescriptive approach. You know what to start, because if you go the agnostic approach, probably might not fit for you, because you get confused with overwhelming data. And that if, and then also see in terms of whether you have a frequent delivery more often, or it's a, then you can go for the lean continuous delivery. If not, then the continuous delivery agile. So you need have to analyze what best discipline agile delivery cycle for you based on the context. So this is the table I made, and then I said that life cycle you have to choose, then team, what kind of team you need, and then time to market, advantage. For instance, I said the agile, right? So uh, so agile, say, so here it's a time to market is a medium, then team new to agile, right? And then if you see this team, so you can see the production typically a month apart. So if you have to frequent delivery, probably might not be relevant. And then if you see the program, again, it's a large initiative and program. So it's a sub team choose on. And then lean, if you see that more is a fast, right? Project team, and then project long-lived, long-term. And then you can see the required significant skills to deliver, right? And serial is a waterfall here. So low risk, you can choose this one. But exploratory here, you can see that it's a very fast, experimental. You don't know what to work well, that you can see the disadvantage, advantage here. Okay. And then this is that I've been talking about that the DA browser that you can find it at the PMI site, right? So how you can navigate it. So this left side is a navigation bar, and the top of that you can find all the phases, all phases, inception, construction, and then the transition and ongoing. So it has kept below, but this is the ongoing process was everywhere. And below there is a DevOps enterprise and the value stream layer. That is for the enterprise level agility. Okay. And then on top of that, graphics, the search, and then the process goals. This is process goals, and this one is a decision point, and this is the option to choose. And the below is a context box. So let me show you let me show you that how DA browser look like. Okay, let me share one second. So hopefully everyone can see my screen. So here I told you this is a navigation bar. So you can see the every steps, every process goes here, all 24. And for here you can see the so here you can export the diagram. The below you can see the context, and this is the process goals, and these are the decision point. And this is the options you have. Here you can see the no arrow, so no order. So you can choose anyone. However, it's a bold, it means it's a recommendation. It's something you can start with. Somewhere you can see the arrow marks. So top is something that is the ordered one, and below the less you can choose later, right? And the so that you can, that is the way we can choose upon. So one, for instance, that most of the Scrum teams, even we are struggling with the requirement. We want to get everything upfront, and then later, when you see the stakeholders are not happy, again we are exploring. So and then also we explained that it's discipline agile kit is not something that you have to replace everything. It gives idea how to choose, work top of that. So for instance, that for the if you talk about the requirement, so probably explore if you explore a scope that could be relevant in terms of finding out the requirement. So these are the decision points here. Explore the purpose, uses, the domain, right? So for instance, if you see you have taken, I'm just giving example, epic, user story, and then map. But something you might have missed the non-functional requirement, right? So for instance, I'm just taking the quality requirement. So here you have acceptance criteria, explicit list, and technical story. If you click anyone, so here you can see that trade-off. So what is pro and cons? So motivates team to think through detailed requirement. And then again, this one you are talking about. Similarly, the explicit list. And then based on that, you can see the, which is going to work well for you. What are the acceptance criteria you can choose based on the context. Okay. Okay. So now again, I need to share the PPT once again. Yeah, let me share my screen. One second. Sorry. Yeah, this part I have already explained. Again, this one again, I did that. So this is the decision point and then option to trade off. And pro and cons you might have seen into the below part. And there is also option where you can see the more options, more information. You can click the link, you can get the information. So here it's the last part we talk about the continuous improvement. So it's that discipline agile said succeed sooner than fail faster. Scrum you might have heard that fail faster, but it talks about a succeed sooner. So speeding up the agile Kaizen loop. So we always look for the opportunity, improve it what we have. So it's based on the Gemba and Kaizen, right? So it's a PT essay you can see. So any issue, identify the issue and identify the potential improvement, try out the new way of working, expand, and then assess the effectiveness. Adopt the new wow if it's working well. If not, we can abandon for right now. And then share learning with others. Then if you talk about the challenges, so when you are trying to implement any new process, of course, you can see that every team has one kind of comfort zone, right? And comfort zone they have developed. So new is a psychological perspective. So you can see the cultural resistance. So in your resistance, you always feel that you are changing the established Scrum process because we have been working and we have been successful. And then overwhelm the choices. You see that DA a lot of process goes we have to and the options to play. So new people might get overwhelmed with the choices. They might get confused what to choose, right? And then training and understanding. So of course, if you are new, probably it's going to be tough. So even if you are working Scrum, I don't have idea for other tools. So you know that if it's not working, but you don't have the idea how to improve on the Scrum process. So you need to have to understanding other process as well. So you need to have proper discipline, agile training, the learning, and you can have explored the website and everywhere. So that is training is essential for to start with. And then of course that alignment across teams, so ensuring all team members are aligned the new way of working. And then of course that opportunity in terms of it could increase the agility, greater flexibility and agility in the addressing project challenges, improved efficiency, increase engagement, and of course, the better outcomes. Improve project outcomes due to a more fit for purpose. Right. So now let's talk about the balancing structure and flexibility with the Scrum team. Imagine we are building a software with a Scrum. It's like constructing a building with a solid blueprint. Now we are introducing disciplined agile, which is like having the freedom to choose the best materials and techniques for each part of our construction, depending on the weather, landscape, even building purpose. So here, keeping our foundation strong. So what we have to keep working on. For instance, we need to stick with our Scrum blueprint, our sprint daily stand up, that retrospective gives us a strong, reliable start. It's like knowing our building will stand tall because we have got the basics right. And then discipline agiles come into the picture, which gives them more flexibility, contextual flexibility, I would say. It's help us to choose the tool and method, and so we can find the better way to lay bricks, new materials to that saves time. So DA often says, go for it. It doesn't restrict you. So if you come with a new tools and say that, okay, it's working well, it's under the blueprint, you can go for it, no problem. And then the finding the perfect balance. Balancing Scrum and DA is an ongoing process. It's not a one-time process. It's like adjusting our construction plan based on what we learn each day. Sometimes we see that we learn more on Scrum's structure. Other time we'll embrace the DA flexibility, tackle new challenges. So, and then talk about that bringing everyone along, especially that stakeholders. So we need to inform our stakeholder, keep updated, because they are the one who is going to fund us, who they are the who are going to engage. We have to engage them to get the approval, right? And yeah, so so we can better manage their expectation, showing them how this balance between structure and flexibility, making our software better, just like well-built, adaptable building that meets all residents' need. So think of integrating DA into a Scrum practice and not as replacing our foundation, but as enhancing it, making our way of working not just assertive, but also plenty adaptable. Now, I'm going to share that my experience, the real experience with the healthcare giant I work. And that is the business transformation program the company planned for the 88 countries. And that vision was to increase the engagement between healthcare professional and patients. So over 50% that virtually they can engage. After the COVID, they wanted to implement everywhere. So what we did, so I was responsible for the 6 country EMEA region, Austria, Portugal, Ireland, and Switzerland, and also that from the African region, Algeria, Tunisia, and Morocco. And I was leading that business transformation program there. So what we did, three, if you say flexibility and context sensitivity. So every country was different. So different kind of challenges, even somewhere the compliance is very strict, somewhere we can work with the company. It's a difficult to work. Somewhere we have, it's a difficult to work. Someone said that, okay, for instance, if you have to send and you have to go for any survey, we need to have the e-permission, and there is a time limit, right? If you fall within that, it's fine. If not, we have to take the further permission, right? So, and for instance, what we did, for example, I would say the agile content creation. So in the any content we had to create in the pharmaceutical company. So there is a has to go for the marketing approval, legal approval, and then the compliance, and then the medical approval. So what we developed the team around the value. So we developed the GCMA, Global Content Management Approval. So whenever the content we say, they all work together and approve it. Finally, mark the medical director sign it off. So it has reduced the overall cycle time. So we, and then for the digital engagement portal, we implemented the Scrum process, and somewhere also we implement the Kanban. So we haven't we didn't select the one framework everywhere. We choose whatever suit for them, and then we gave the flexibility to choose upon. And then learning organization. Everywhere we started learning for that what is working well, what is not, and then based on that, we have to look for the opportunity to improve every time. We have to look for, right? So emphasizing continuous learning. It's not one time and adoption for the new challenges. And then challenges overcome the navigated the digital strategy integration across varied market, foster the agile mindset amidst traditional operational models. If talk about the outcomes, a 30% improvement in patient satisfaction scores and 20% reduction in project delivery times and significant growth in market share. And then key takeaways, discipline, the first one, discipline agile principle provides robust framework for health healthcare companies' global transformation effort, proving its efficacy in complex real-world scenarios. And then the flexibility, context sensitivity, and commitment to continuous improvement under DA can drive significant advancements in healthcare engagement and operational efficiency. So now I would like to, we have covered the integration part, you understand the challenges. So now we want that, what is your understanding, the DA's integration in Scrum before and after this presentation? Was 2 or 3 level, but now I can see known is as 1. So 10 people are 3 level and 4 people are 6. 6 people are at 4 and 1 5. So it's a great. I can see the improvement from previous one. So I've explored. It's not an end. You need to explore more and more to understand it better, right? Thank you. Thanks for participating in this. So I can see that this presentation has helped you somehow. Thank you, guys. Yeah. So key learning summary. So first we understand that the DA's agnosticism. So confirm the DA's flexible agnostic approach, enhance Scrum enabling tailoring the agile practices and project specific needs. So we understand. So DA is agnostic and it remains to be agnostic. It gives you the idea, it gives you the path you have to choose. What is the right you have to decide, and you know the team well. So it's just a framework giving you idea to where you have to think upon. And then we also highlighted the steps for blending that DA and Scrum and improving the project adaptability, addressing the Scrum team challenges, how to where to look for the challenges to address. And then also we talked about that the how to make balances between the Scrum structure and DA's adaptable practices. And then we also discussed the continuous improvement, encouraged leveraging DA for overcoming Scrum limitation, promoting efficiency and team engagement. And then next step that we encourage you that maybe you can explore DA further through the DA browser, Hypernet on the PMI site, and where we can get the you can see a lot of practices, principles, guidance. You can look, you have a better understanding. And then community engagement. You can join the social network, LinkedIn. There are a lot of community. You can learn a lot of things from the peers. And then, of course, that continually education. You can join any training, workshop to for deeper drive. You can learn better. So, guys, if you have any questions, you can put in Q&A segment, right? But I'm so sorry, I have already over the time. So any questions you have, just write in the Q&A segment. You can write it down. Maybe we can reply you within 24 hours. So just keep participating into it. It is going to help us to how to improve our webinar. So keep participating. So I can see that 4 people have marked. That's awesome. Thank you. And then also the great 70 out 10 people. 3 is okay. None have marked as poor. Thank you. And okay. So we can, okay, we can end the poll. So last, that's guys, what is the one thing you will take away from today's session? Could you write in question Q&A segment? And also into the chat, you can see that CCRS claim code that you can use as a PDU. Once you redeem at PMS site, you can get the one PDU. So look for the webinar chat, and also just write down what you can take one thing from this today's session. Anyone else you want to share? Guys, hope you might have noted the CCRS claim code. Just look at webinar chat. We can see that CCRS claim code. Okay, Dhyan has mentioned practicing Agile and DA project. Great, great. Thank you, Dhyan. Okay, have to leave for another minute. Thank you. Thanks for participation. Thank you, Carla. Hope you have taken, you have noted the claim code for video reading. So for that, you have to go at PMI site, and there is an option for how to claim it, the PDU code. Anything you want to, you have taken it as a learning from this webinar, you can write it down. Or any questions you have, you can drop us a mail. You have the mail ID. So you can drop us. We'll try to reply you within 24 hours.